Welcome back to my quick and dirty debate coverage. I want to talk about the worst moment of the debate specifically for Bernie Sanders, who I have said many times now I believe to be the big winner of the debate. He also had a huge fail of an answer, and all of the candidates, and especially Bernie Sanders, knew going into this debate that there were going to be certain things that they were going to be asked, and they had time to prepare for it. And I think that Bernie Sanders, on a number of different issues, did prepare very good responses that both disarmed people who would come at him with accusations of him being a socialist. He gave a great response on what socialism actually means for regular people, and things like that. But the biggest one, though, I think, recently was his prior votes on gun control and gun rights, and the vote to extend liability protection for gun manufacturers, voting against the Brady bill, allowing the checking of bags on trains, guns in bags on trains. Those sorts of votes need a response because the gun issue is an extremely salient issue in a way that it wasn't really 10 years ago. And his response was not satisfactory. It was, I think, by far the lowest point for Bernie Sanders in this debate. And look, I don't think for me, and I don't think it should for most people who might vote for him, lead you to cast your support somewhere else. But it was a disappointment because Bernie Sanders is a guy who has a very stable, strong value system that his ideology is derived from, that has been consistent for a very long time. And it might be that this is one of the flaws of that value system. There are others, like on marijuana. But in this case, this is too important of an issue for him to have responded in the way that he did. And basically what he said was, I was representing a very rural state, and the concerns of rural hunters are different than others, and we can shout all we want, but we need to be able to come together to have common sense gun regulations. And I'm sort of struggling to remember exactly what it was that he said, that's basically how he came across, that he didn't seem like he had prepared for that. He had not come up with an internally consistent explanation for his prior votes and how he might have changed, and people are going to want him to have changed, that fits in with the rest of his ideology. And it doesn't fit at all with the other things that he's said in terms of on the economy and on foreign policy. He wants to lead. He takes his stance and he says, okay, we need to make the case to the American people and convince them that we're right. On this, it was this surrender that, God, I mean, we've got some good ideas. I'm sure the right's got some good ideas. We'll come together. And he's in favor of expanding background checks. That's certainly good. And a lot of the individual policies, if he was to push for them, he'd probably have the right stance on. But one, it doesn't seem like a huge priority for him. And two, I don't know that he overall does have the right stance. I don't know that he would reverse his position on the protection from liability for the gun manufacturers, or further regulations beyond expanded background checks. And he turned to the mental health position on this. And look, mental health and dealing with that is a part of this, but when you make that what you talk about, in 2015 in America, it seems like that means that you don't think that we need more gun regulations, and I don't think a lot of Democratic voters are going to like that. So, look, Bernie Sanders had an incredibly good performance at this debate. I think he will continue to, but he needs to prepare better answers on this sort of issue. It was just completely out of step with his performance otherwise, and a big disappointment.